Hello, and welcome to Faith Voices of Nashville, a panel discussion offering stories of wisdom and hope, brought to you by 50Forward. I'm Kelsey Mahaffey, All of Us Project Director for 50Forward, located in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a national community engagement partner for the All of Us Research Program. Formed in 1956, 50Forward supports, champions, and enhances life for those 50 and older, and serves close to 20,000 older adults annually through a wide variety of programs and services. To learn more about who we are and what we do, please visit our website at 50forward.org. Today, we are delighted to talk with faith leaders representing some of the many religious faiths here in Nashville, Tennessee. According to the Religious Landscape Survey of more than 35,000 Americans in 50 states by the Pew Research Center, 89% of Tennessee adults surveyed said that religion was either very or somewhat important in their lives. And older adults are more likely to identify as religious and to belong to a religious group. Our webinar aims to recognize the importance of faith in the lives of older adults and to raise awareness about and increase understanding and appreciation of some of the faith traditions represented in the Nashville area. This event is brought to you by the Dove Committee at 50Forward, which stands for Diversity, Opportunity, Vision, and Equity. We are delighted that you have joined us for this special event, and we hope you will be inspired to take action in a way that uplifts and advances our community. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Pastor Keith Caldwell. Pastor Keith Caldwell is a Nashville native. He attended the American Baptist College, where he was elected Student Government Association president and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in theology. He later earned a master's degree from Vanderbilt University Divinity School. He first became actively engaged politically through labor union organizing as a union steward and went on to become a grassroots community organizer with the Nashville Peace and Justice Center, where he later became the executive director. In 2005, he co-founded Urban Epicenter, an African-American organization formed to address the glaring injustices of systemic racism. The organization's mission focused on doing justly at the intersection of race and poverty. Caldwell is the former president of the Nashville branch of the NAACP, serves as a board member for the Scarrett Bennett Center, and is on the executive board of the Interdenominational Ministerial Fellowship. He is currently a provisional elder in the United Methodist Church and pastors the historic C. Huber Church in South Nashville. He is also the proud father of 4 adult children. Welcome, Pastor Caldwell.
Thank you so much, Kelsey, and I'm so delighted to moderate this. These are esteemed guests. This conversation is critically important. I'm thankful for 50Forward for making this a reality. And now I would like to begin by introducing our esteemed guests. First is Imam Osama Balu, PhD, is resident scholar of the Islamic Center of Nashville, and he's a graduate of the renowned Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt, where he earned a BA in Islamic Studies, as well as a master's degree, and ultimately his PhD in comparative religions. Dr. Balu's passion for comparative religions has fueled over 16 years of experience in interfaith dialogue and numerous public collaborations with both Muslim organizations and religious leaders from other faiths. As an academic, he has worked on peer review research and has traveled extensively, lecturing at the university level about critical interfaith issues facing Muslims. Next is Dr. Betty Balu. I'm sorry, Billy R. I didn't mean to butcher anyone's name, so please bear with me. He's a board certified psychiatrist practicing in Nashville area for the last 30 years. He has a medical degree from Bellar, India, and has completed a residency in Cherokee, Iowa, a fellowship at Vanderbilt University. He specializes in work with children, adolescents, and families. He is currently directing an adolescent inpatient program and in charge of training residents at core facilities in TriStar Psychiatry Residency Program. He's a former chairman of the board for trustees at St. Ganesha Temple of Nashville and former president of the India Association of Nashville, and has been involved in religious education and promoting mental health awareness through his stress management workshops and lectures on suicide prevention. And next is Deacon Marty Deshane. He earned his BA at the University of Montreal and his PhD in French literature at Vanderbilt University. He lived in Tunisia for 3 years while continuing his theological studies. During his professional career, he trained Peace Corps volunteers for service in Senegal and Niger. And he's also a professor of French and teaching foreign languages at Tennessee State University and Vanderbilt University. He co-founded and was director of the Tennessee Foreign Language Institute. Marty has been a deacon at St. Henry's Catholic Church since 1985. Next is Dr. Michael Miner. He is a nationally known champion of faith-based health and wellness mobilization. He is best known as the Southern pastor who banned, fried chicken in his church. Okay. All right. And after receiving his undergrad degree in economics from Harvard University, Dr. Miner earned his master's degree in business administration and real estate development, and is a doctorate degree in higher and adult education from the University of Memphis. And he is an associate faculty member at the University of Phoenix and is a published researcher who continues to conduct primary research. As a community organizer for nearly 25 years, Dr. Miner has worked on community empowerment, nonprofit business development, and faith community issues. An anointed, prolific gospel preacher, he currently serves as the under shepherd of the Oak Hill Baptist Church and the Hill Hernando Church family in Hernando, Mississippi. President of the Mid-South Churches Corporative Conference Baptist State Convention, co-chair of the National Faith-Based Mobilization Network, and national director of the HOPE, Hope, Health, and Human Services Partnership of the National Baptist Convention, USA. He is co-principal investigator of the All of Us research program of the National Institute of Health. Dr. Miner is also married with 3 wonderful daughters and a darling granddaughter. All right. Dr. Robin Otis Ballou earned her Bachelor's of Arts from Fisk University and has her MS and PhD degrees from Howard University. Both of these institutions emphasize multicultural issues and social justice for all groups. Currently, she is a professor and coordinator of the PhD and counseling psychology program at Tennessee State University. She joined the faculty in 2006, is committed to teaching and training, and has consistently maintained an active research team. Her research interests are cultural competency in health service psychology and inclusive learning environments. She is also a licensed psychologist and has maintained a practice for 20 years. Dr. Otis Ballou is representing the Baha'i faith on our panel today. Next is Rabbi Laurie Rice. She hails from Los Angeles, California. She completed her Bachelor's of Arts at Northwest University. She's a dual major in history and Slavic languages and literature. She was ordained by the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in 2001. Having received her master's in Hebrew letters in 1999. She and her husband Philip are co-rabbis of Congregation Micah in Brentwood, Tennessee. Rabbi Laurie also co-chairs the President's Rabbinic Council for the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion. Locally, she is a member of PAG, a committee for the Vanderbilt Chaplaincy Program, an ambassador for the Amend program of the YMCA, and a member of the Ethics Committee of Alive Hospice. She adores spending time with her husband and co-rabbi, Flip, and their 3 children. She also loves running the roads of Nashville at Percy Warner Park. And now we will pivot to the questions that I'll be asking to our panelists to help us learn more about their faith traditions and the older adults they serve as part of their ministries. First question is for everyone. It is, please tell us about yourself and share some basic information about your faith tradition. Please share an assumption or myth that about your faith that you would like to dispel or respond to. So I'd like to ask Dr. Otis Ballou if you would go first, and we'll just go around the screen in that way.
Sure, of course. So thank you, Pastor Caldwell, for introducing me, so I won't repeat that part, other than to say personally, I'm a second generation Baha'i, and also define myself by my relationships. So a little bit about the Baha'i faith. It is the youngest of the world's religions, and unity is really the cornerstone belief of the Baha'i faith, and that's really unity of humanity and of religion. So our core beliefs are that there is just one God, and that God has sent a messenger or a manifestation to carry his word across humanity's spiritual development. So we do believe that he sent messengers or manifestations like Moses, Christ, Krishna, Buddha. I may be missing Muhammad. I'm sure I'm missing others. We do believe that his most recent messenger or manifestation of God is Baha'u'llah, which translates into glory of God. And Baha'u'llah's teachings do center on the unity of religion and the unity of humanity. So those are the basic core beliefs of Baha'i faith. And we do not have clergy. We have something called the local spiritual assembly, and that is 9 adults elected annually to represent the affairs of the Baha'i community, like the business affairs. Someone's got to, maintain the buildings and kind of organize things and run the website and those sorts of things. And so again, we do not have clergy. We have a local spiritual assembly. I'm a member of that local spiritual assembly. And then in terms of myths, one of the myths that surrounds the Baha'i faith is that we're not actually a religion, but that we're a social movement. And that's because we're so focused on the unity of humankind. But the unity of humankind means letting go of things. It means being detached from power, dominance, control, and the need to be better than rather than unified. And letting go of that and detachment from those things really is focused on spiritual virtues. We can't achieve unity without leaning into spiritual virtues like compassion, like honesty, like trust, and really through building relationships. So again, a myth is that we're a social movement, but we are a religion, and we are a religion that is rooted in spiritual values that helps achieve the unity of humanity.
Thank you so much. I was muted. Imam Ballou, if you would go next, please.
Well, my name is Osama Bahloul, and I'm the Imam of the Islamic Center, as you said. And Islam is a religion, see itself as the final message from God. We believe in the oneness of God, and we accept all of the prophet he sent. And we see the Quran to be the final revelation. And we believe that the human received many revelations and they will qualify to receive the final message when they reach a certain level of maturity. And Muslims recognize other faiths, although we have some disagreement with some, and but we always open to work with everyone. As far as a misconception about our faith, one might say we have many. Some assume that Islam really does not give females the rights, and it's a kind of surprise to me because Muslims, female, through the history of Islam, really play a significant role. One can start with the wife of Muhammad being really a businesswoman contributing, and she was the main source of financial support to his own family. And some people assume that Islam does not support the freedom of religion, not realizing that all of the religious institutions in the Middle East been protected by Islam. We have many beautiful churches in America and the temples, but the most astonishing one you can find in the Middle East, in the birthplace of Jesus, and the Mosque Syria and the others, and all of those buildings were protected really under the leadership of the Muslim leaders because of the teaching of Islam. Our tradition support equal right, equality, while people really, all of us came from Adam and Eve, and you can be better than others because of what you do, not because of how you look or what you have. God said in the Quran, "Inna akramakum Allahi atqakum," means the best one among you in the eyes of God is the one with more righteousness. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Imam. Next, we'll have Dr. Biliar.
Well, I had to thank 50Forward to arrange this concept of inviting faith groups to share wisdom and hope. I'm very aware that we are in changing times and difficult times, and we do have problem tolerating differences and respecting differences and figuring out what people are up to. And this is a trust building exercise, and I'm so happy that we have been given this opportunity, especially for the Hindu community. We are a new community in Nashville or in United States. We were very small in number, and we have flourished thanks to the open-minded hospitality of this country and the people of Nashville. And it has been a pleasure to be part of this kind of discussion. Now, a lot of people have misconceptions about Hinduism. Hinduism is not an organized religion. There is no prophet, no one book that we follow, and it is just basically practices, how the belief system that's practiced, to the east of Indus Valley, in that Indian subcontinent. And we don't know when the religion started, when these belief systems, started original practice, and when these original books were written. Therefore, we believe that this came directly from God through the heavens, through the Himalayas, and through the saints and seers, and it's a collective wisdom of the ages, and we distill that wisdom and try to practice. Therefore, and the nice thing is it's an evolving religion. It's it's a all-conclusive religion. It's a secular practice, with so many variations and so many ways of doing things. Therefore, for the Nashville audience, I just have to clarify one thing. We see God in everybody, we see God in everything, and we don't see us as separate from the Creator. We are just one manifestation. We are just the expressions of the divine in a lot of different ways, in living and non-living ways. Therefore, we try to get back to that understanding that we are the true spirits and we are not separate from the divine. Now, when it comes to worshiping, we worship God in all different forms, depending on how we can relate to the higher power. Therefore, we worship them in human form, in idols and books and chants and a variety of ways. again, we emphasize the individual pursuit of the connection with the divine, with whatever medium that they can use to be able to uplift themselves and be aware of their spiritual presence and be able to enjoy a relationship with the higher power and feel that security that they need to be able to get through life.
Yes,
Now,
thank you so much. Thank you.
okay.
And okay. Deacon Deshane, same question, please.
Okay, I was born in 1938, a year before the Second World War started. I am from a family of 6 children, 5 boys and a girl. I am the oldest. My paternal grandmother had 8 children, and my maternal grandmother had 15 children. Good Catholic family, right? You can imagine what my extended family looks like now. When I was 14 years old, I went away to school in the province of Quebec for high school and college. I was thinking of becoming a priest in the Society of Missionaries of Africa. I attended their seminary in Carthage, Tunisia, and after 3 years there of study, a year before I was to be ordained, I decided that the celibate life was not for me. So I came home and started teaching French in a high school. That's where I met another young teacher named Margot Deshane. Since we had the same last name, we said, why not? And we got married. A year later, we moved to Nashville, and I started my graduate work at Vanderbilt, was hired to teach French at Tennessee State University in 1968, the year Martin Luther King was killed. While at TSU, I also trained Peace Corps volunteers to become English teachers in Senegal and Niger. And 26 years later, I left TSU to become the director of the Tennessee Foreign Language Institute, where I stayed for 12 years. In the meantime, in 1981, I began my studies to become a deacon and was ordained in 1985. I was assigned at St. Henry Catholic Church in Nashville and have been active there ever since. I have 2 children, 6 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. I'm 83 years old and Margot is 80, and we both are still very active and will continue to be, God willing. One of the assumptions that other faiths have about the Catholic faith can probably be stated in the following way. Why is it that you Catholics worship Mary? Some people may even say that we pray more rosaries than we attend church services. Well, we don't worship Mary, we honor her because she was and is the mother of Jesus, who we believe is God. We talk to her because she is the mother of Jesus. We cry to her, we plead with her to intercede for us with God. Isn't that what a mother is for? We do not worship Mary, we worship God.
Thank you so much. Rabbi Laurie Rice.
Hi, my name is Rabbi Laurie Rice, and I think I've been introduced as much as is necessary. I'm delighted to be one of the co-senior rabbis here at Congregation Micah in Brentwood, Tennessee. And I am a representative of the Jewish tradition and a leader in our synagogue. Judaism is a monotheistic faith tradition, which means that we recognize not just one God, but that really the emphasis on the unity of all things. That's the oneness that we understand to be the monotheistic, that we are all connected and responsible for one another. And I think one of the myths that's probably most associated with Judaism is that it's often only described as a faith tradition, but Judaism is really a people and a culture. It's language, it's faith as well. But what is most important to understand is that whatever it is that we believe as Jews, comes second to the way in which that belief translates into the way in which we walk in this world. That if our belief does not compel us to act virtuously towards others, and to pursue sort of that oneness that really exists between us, to see the face of God in everyone we encounter, then our faith matters not at all. So that is what it means to be a Jew. It means to walk virtuously in this world. If I were to quote the prophet Micah, the namesake of our synagogue, it's to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God.
Thank you so much. The next panelist, Dr. Michael O. Minor. Same question, please.
All right. Thank you, Pastor Caldwell, for being such a gracious host. And again, we're most appreciative of being a part of this discussion today, and to all these wonderful, esteemed colleagues. I am proud, privileged to be part of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, the nation's largest Black denomination. We have over 31,000 churches, and we're glad to call Nashville our home. Our headquarters are located there at 1700 Baptist Way, Center Drive. What do we mean when talking about Baptists? Well, first of all, let me just say we are evangelicals. We know that word has gotten a bad connotation, but the truth of the matter, evangelical means that people have a personal conversion in faith. We believe that people of faith come with a direct connection to God through his son, Jesus Christ. Yes, we're part of the Abrahamic tradition. We accept the Old Testament and see the New Testament as a fulfillment of the Old Testament. After all, Jesus was a rabbi, and the first Christians were Jewish. But the thing that differs from us as the National Baptists, we believe in the separation of church and state, but we're concerned about the blurring of church and state, because we see there are differences between what you do in the political sphere and you do in the faith sphere. Sometimes in the political sphere, you have to make compromises that do things that go against about the core of our faith, which is about engagement and loving one another unconditionally, not because of things that we have in common. We just love you even if we're different. And so our concern now as we go forth in this new millennium is how can we re-engage people about what it means to be a people of faith, and to disengage a lot from all the rhetoric and go back to where we can see things that we can tell people that we have more in common than we have apart. I think the biggest misconception that we have right now is that because we are predominantly a Black denomination, that we are racist. We're not. We engage. I tell you this, if you have a National Baptist church in your community, you have a church that's engaging. No matter who you are, where you are, we accept and find ways to work together. That's what I wanted to share today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, this is a fantastic group of faith leaders. We'll go to the second question. And again, we'll pose this to all, and let's just go in reverse order. So Dr. Michael Minor, if you answer first and we'll go back. Second question, what is the role or place of older adults in your faith community? Some faith communities have experienced a rise in the average age of their membership. Please share with us your experience with older adults in your faith community.
Good question, Pastor Caldwell. Our median age right now is about 60. As you know, there's been a change in this new millennium. A lot more people are going to the nuns, the NONS. And so right now we're trying to do two things. We have a very vibrant ministry for our seasoned saints, as we have them as part of our health ministry and the work that we do. But we've also started an intergenerational movement where we're trying to find ways to connect our seasoned saints with our younger folks, not just their children or grandchildren, but also others in their congregations, so we can look at a couple things, ways by which they can share their knowledge with them and vice versa, especially when it comes to technology in the Zoom and Facebook environment we're in now because of the pandemic. We found so many ways that this connection has been very rich. The other thing that we're doing is to allow them to understand, hey, look at this. They may dress different. They may talk different. Some of the things they say, don't forget you were once young and you looked at things a lot differently. But our whole idea is that we're going to be a big tent. We got to make sure we can track those in. And we have this philosophy. Everybody matters, no matter your age.
Thank you so much. And the same reverse order, so folks remember.
I think that would put me next. So we have a significant number of older members in our community. And one of the things we tried to do is not to place all the emphasis programmatically and otherwise on our younger families, because I think that can often happen in faith communities. We're thinking about educating the next generation, wanting to integrate young families so that they form community when they may not otherwise have that previously. And so and we recognize that it's our older demographic that maybe has more time as, say, retirees to contribute as volunteers and to lend their leadership and their skills that are born out of maturity that only they have. And so we try to honor that element in our older population and look to them, to serve as, frankly, intergenerational role models for those who come after. And I think they take that role very seriously. So.
Thank you so much. Deacon.
Okay, at St. Henry, we are fortunate to have had pastors who always encouraged their older adults to continue to be active if they have already been, and to begin to be active if they have not been. And we see many newcomers who become active because of this also. Many of our lectors, our Eucharistic ministers, are elderly. It's always inspiring me to see an older man or an older woman who has a hard time walking with a cane even sometimes, to see them coming up to the ramp of the stair or the stairs to read scripture or to distribute communion. Many of them also bring communion to the sick or to the homebound at home and in the hospitals. In fact, the majority of these volunteers are elderly because, being retired, they have more time to do this. This is also true for those who volunteer for projects or charities like Habitat for Humanity, Room in the Inn, Loaves and Fishes, and Ladies of Charity. Many of these volunteers are seniors, and you know what? They do a pretty good job. And also there's charitable constructors that we have at St. Henry that help elderly people also do projects in their homes. And we have Mary Queen of Angels for the elderly also. At St. Henry, we also have group activities for older parishioners, prime timers activities, outings and trips. Once a year, we have a luncheon for seniors served by the 8th grade school boys. And also once a month, we have the most popular activity, bingo. Thank you.
Thank you, Deacon. Is it Dr. Billiard next? I think.
Yes, sure. Again, we are not as well organized as St. Henry, so I'm very impressed with what they're offering for their community. We wish we could offer more our community through our temple system. All we have done so far is be able to give them opportunity to join together on discussion on scriptures and give them volunteer opportunities both in the temple and outside the social activities that we have co-sponsored or we have joined hands in other people. And of course, having a place of worship itself is a luxury for us, and we didn't have it before, and we are happy that we have a place of worship where we can come and join. And therefore, it's been a blessing for, as we get older, to have a place where we can get together without having to drink or socialize in the wrong ways. The real
You're muted.
The real contribution of Hindus for the aging population is learning to live with their body, live with their mind, learn to purify their spirit through spiritual practices, yoga practices, and figure out a way to get get out of their body and prepare themselves to be the reunited with the source. Therefore, we provide guidance in our scriptures, and our teachings are all prepared to help you give up your body consciousness and prepare yourself well. For overall, we worship our elders. Actually, we have a lot of respect for elders, and we want to keep them at home as much as possible and not send them to nursing home so that they can inspire our grandchildren. And that's what we try to perpetuate as much as possible, to have that loving family. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Rabbi Rice.
Hi. So this is just about how it is that we reach out to the community, correct? Because I think I already spoke to how it is the role of older adults in the community.
Yeah, I think we're on to Dr. Baloo is the next one on there. So Dr. Baloo, if you'll.
Well, that's all good. Well, when speaking about the elder member of the community, the religion of Islam has a very strong stand. You cannot be a true believer without showing respect to the elder and the mercy to the younger. And this is not, we don't only show respect to them, but we see them to be a source of reward. By respecting and loving them, you are, it's been recognized as an act of worship in our religion. In practicality, what the Islamic Center does, I think we are doing good in certain area, and I believe we have a room of improvement in other areas. We struggled before COVID reaching out to our elder. One of the good outcome of COVID, that when everyone in the community started to be trained to use Zoom, I am really grateful that we are able now to reach most of our senior. I remember Dr. Fakhruddin, he passed away last year. He called me once and he said, well, I was very sad that I cannot come to the Islamic Center. And God brought the Islamic Center to my home through Zoom. So we learn through the experience of we can bring the programs to really well. Of leader, the board of director and the board of trustees should reflect the entire community. So we demand by the constitution that the board of director and the board of trustees has to have senior male, female, young male, female, new Muslims, and the people from different background. So through the diverse leadership, we are able to reach out to most of the people. We have, I learned from the temple really, when I visited once the coffee with the Rabbi, we started having this program with senior in our community, and it's working well. I wish we can do more, but I think we are doing good in some areas.
Thank you. Dr. Otis Baloo.
Yes. As previous panelists have indicated, and in countries and cultures across the world, older people are generally viewed as having wisdom, and it's no different in the Baha'i faith. Also, as others have said, because of their phase of life, older people have different demands on their time, and so they're, in the Baha'i faith, able to do a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to service. And also, to borrow on a bit of a Southern phrase, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we all live to get to be old, right? We all live to get to be old. And as we age, you know, we will not function physically the way that we used to. So there will be some changes that come with that. And Baha'u'llah says, know thou that the soul of man is exalted above and is independent of all infirmities of body or mind. That a sick person showeth signs of weakness is due to the hindrances that interpose themselves between his soul and his body. For the soul itself remaineth unaffected by any bodily ailments. And that's from Gleanings, the writings of Baha'u'llah. And essentially, my takeaway is that he's saying that as we age, our bodies change, but our soul and our spirit essentially does not change, that it's still intact. And personally, I can say that my parents both, my father has passed away, but he had dementia, and my mother has it. And their memories were gone, essentially. But their spirits, intact, and their spirits always spoke truth. They would say things, sometimes they would say or do things that let us know that their spirits were perfectly intact and that they were still embodying spiritual values. And that was such a gift to us as well, to be able to see that and to, and to have it shine on us.
That's a beautiful distinction. Also, I'm just thinking about the wisdom of our elders and the communal memory. Sometimes we forget, we can forget quickly. And the elders are always reminding us, my tradition, of a God who brought us this far by faith. So to the next question. This question will be asked only of three people. Rabbi Rice, Dr. Billy R., and Deacon. So here's the question. Please share some examples of how you reached out to community to increase your understanding about your faith.
I think I'm first there. So thank you so much. I think I have a fairly simple answer, which is just that we try to be really active in interfaith collaboration. I think that's the best way for people to learn about our faith tradition. We've been really blessed to do a number of collaborative efforts with our Islamic community here in Nashville. That has always been a huge blessing for all of our members, and myself included. I consider Imam Balul a friend and a colleague. Aside from those sort of interfaith extensions and collaborations, we teach an annual Introduction to Judaism course that we make available to anybody in the larger community that's interested in learning more about Judaism. And then, as much as we can maintain security and safety, which is unfortunately a really big issue for the Jewish community, as it is for, I think, others as well, we try and welcome guests and visitors to our services and our programs here in the synagogue building as often as we can. And we really encourage people to come and see what it's all about. If anybody is interested in celebrating Judaism, we are interested in celebrating it with them. So
that is so great. Thank you.
Well, we are the smallest group in Nashville in terms of alternate faiths. We don't proselytize, therefore we don't have any vested interest in promoting our religion to anybody. We just want to practice with some degree of freedom and opportunity to be ourselves. We offer tours every month for people who sign up to know about the temple, and we join interfaith panels like this whenever the opportunity comes. And we have an India festival once a year where we have an open house where people can come in and take a tour, visit, and things like that. And we try to have a seminar once a year for those people who are interested in learning more about the Hindu religion and culture. And our cultural activities in the temple are open to public of any other faith or anybody in Nashville, even though we have not marketed that heavily, but it is open for those people who are interested. And we are extending, we are trying to develop a social extension of our activities to the majority community, where we are trying to extend our hand to the struggling and impoverished and difficult populations that need help. We are trying to extend our hands, but we are in the early stages of reaching out with our limited resources. But the biggest thing we do, or the most important thing we emphasize for our congregation, is to conduct ourselves with dignity and self-respect and be the role models so that they can see the practitioners of our faith can be trusted and they're accountable and they have faith in themselves and the bigger way the society works. We want to work together, and together we can achieve greater growth and development spiritually within ourselves. again, we're open to, we have health seminar that we're open to the public once a year, and we are trying to extend educational seminars because we are rich with the scientific and medical community is pretty advanced. So we want to help out the greater community that way too.
Thank you so much, Deacon Deshane.
I guess we never do enough to reach out to the community to increase the understanding of our faith. But let me give a couple of examples on how we do try. I am the spiritual advisor for the Cursillo movement in the Catholic Diocese of Nashville. Twice a year, we offer a 3-day retreat at Camp Marymount. It's called Cursillo de Cristiandad. It originated in Spain. In English, it's a short course in Christianity. Some people who attend this retreat have fallen away from their faith. Others are tepid in their faith, and others just need a renewal. During these 3 days, we have talks by clergy and lay people and discussion and reflection. And the spiritual advisor does spiritual direction with those who have questions. Leaders from other faith communities became aware of this retreat, and they could attend and they asked if they could attend as observers. And out of this came the Methodist retreat called Walk to Emmaus, the Baptist retreat called Tres Dias, and the non-denominational prison retreat called Kairos, and many others. A second example is, in the past, at least for several years, we hosted a TSU, Tennessee State University class of students that were studying about interfaith cultures and everything. And they came to St. Henry's, and I would give them a talk on the Catholic faith, and then they could ask any questions. And they were students that were Muslim. I don't know if we had any Baha'is, and there were Hindus, there were non-believers, there were Protestants, all the denominations. And it was so wonderful because they had questions all the time, and they were very good questions. Some I couldn't answer and some I could answer. And it always turned out to be a beautiful experience for me personally. And we haven't done that now in the last 3 or 4 years, but we used to do it every year. And then we'd give them a tour of our church, which was interesting also because they had all kinds of questions. And it was hard to answer some of those questions, but it was a very interesting time for me. And that's an example.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is a great conversation. Our next question would be about trust. So I just wanted to preface about, to tell a story about 5 years ago. I got appointed to a Methodist church in Murfreesboro, and they were looking for Protestant clergy to develop what would become the Rutherford County Interfaith Council. And there were Baha'i and the Islamic Center, the mosques there that had experienced so much vitriol. And we gathered together and started to have interfaith conversations. MTSU School of Religion helped to facilitate that. And a year later, when we had Rutherford County, Murfreesboro Loves, you remember Charlottesville, and the next year they were coming to Murfreesboro. And because we had the dialogue already taking place, and we had sessions like this that imams and rabbis and folks could demystify the tenets of the religion, I think that was really helpful proactively to get people a better understanding. So we're just not looking at things that make headlines around the sensationalizing it, but really talking about all of these faiths have talked about love as their core. So here's the question. And this question 4 is for how can trust be established with community agencies and organizations like 50Forward, so older adults in your faith community can be connected to beneficial services and resources? This is for Dr. Otis Ballou, Dr. Ballou, and Dr. Minor. In that order, please.
So first, I think it's a great question. And first, I think programs like this, where, different, and I love your story, Pastor Caldwell, where when you invite different voices to the table, everyone's voice is elevated, and that builds connection and that helps establish trust. And so programs like this, I think, do it. Building relationships, of course, do it. Also, if anyone formally wants to reach out to the Baha'i community with a service or with a request, they can contact the local spiritual assembly, and the LSA will consult about the opportunity and share it with the community through a newsletter, through announcements at our worship services, on our website. And different agencies have done this, and it's been good. You know, for instance, the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition reached out to us to ask if they could use our space for a vaccine drive and to invite members of their community, recent immigrants and refugees to Middle Tennessee to receive the vaccine. And then they also, of course, opened it up to members of the Baha'i faith as well. And so things like that, I think, builds connection and builds trust. And it's as simple as sending a message and making a connection.
Well, trust is critical in any kind of success. And because we can have programs, and without really a genuine relationship between people and the organizations, I don't think we can be able to reach a good outcome. The activity then will end with a program. I think we can build the trust when realizing that, you know what, we are a member of the same family. Since Rabbi Rice mentioned the issue of security, I was really grateful with the outcome of the event in Texas last week. I think when we see each other, all of us as a member of the same family, the outcome will be wonderful for all. Being able to differentiate between having a good feeling toward each other and being comfortable having disagreement, and being genuine about it, I think it's an essential part of it. For any organization to build the trust with certain group of people, I think they have to become aware of your service. I think coming to the community and offering them the service that you have, and all of us can show the support that you need. I think people will end up having this kind of relationship. We often struggle when people hear about organizations and in practicality, they are not aware of any benefit. Through the work with the Afghani community, and some of them are senior, and we struggle with them because of the language gap. I think when we start serving people start to see us as really caring members about them. Then trust can be built, and the outcome can be good for all. I think also trust comes with maturity. No one of us can be well without all of us being well. And if all of us can realize this, for your faith to be protected, for my faith to be protected, I have to protect yours. And for my parents to be taken care of, I have to try my best to protect all of the elder around us. I think seeing all of us as a member of the same family, the children of Adam and Eve, I think will lead to an appreciation for diversity. And instead of having to deal with it, I think we'll appreciate it and we see it as a gift. And each part of the community will appreciate the service. For your organization, I will be happy to host you in the Islamic Center, and you can come, bring awareness about your activity. And I think people will see the benefit and will build the relationship necessary for you.
So Imam, that's really beautiful. I just wanted to focus in on one of the things you said about the same family. And it's the idea that we are all a part of the human family. And we tell folks, whenever you see someone that is, because we don't need advanced degrees to understand that, right? So we can just ask the question, how is it okay for us to place a human being outside the human family? And once we've done that, then we may as well open the floodgates, right? Because the intrinsic value of human beings and human worth. So that's important. Dr. Minor, please.
All right, Pastor Caldwell, Iman, Baloo, you've hit it right on it. I think the idea is that we're doing a good job, I think, at the high level. Look at us here, we all are leaders on this session today. I think the thing that we need to push is in the pews, or in the seats, in the chairs. We have to empower, because one thing as Baptists, as being evangelicals, we believe in the individual relationship that a person has with the Lord. And so therefore, we have to encourage those in the pews to be deliberate about having positive interaction, even with those people they disagree with. That's one of the things that we're missing, even in Nashville, with so many houses of worship across the area. We get stuck in our silos of things we watch on TV and social media. We get biased and think certain groups of people are just totally bad. There's nobody good in them and whatnot. So we're working on those one-on-one things. Because after all, actions speak louder than words. I think the other thing that we have to do is we have to see to lift up positive stories, especially groups like 50Forward. Tendency as we get older, in certain cases, we get a little more mellow, that varies, but how we can see people of our seasoned saints, as we'd say, interacting with others and showing good examples. And that's how we can build up on trust. The only sad thing about it, once you break trust, it's hard to get it back. So let's do everything we can, to keep it.
All right, that's good. That's good. Our next question is for everyone. And so it's we're question 4. Is that right?
Question 5, Pastor Caldwell.
Right. We're moving right along here.
Yeah.
How can our audience show support and welcome to people from your faith tradition? And Rabbi Rice, I'll begin with you, please.
Great, thank you so much. I think inquiry is just the most wonderful show of interest and appreciation. Asking questions, I like to say when groups visit the synagogue that there's no wrong question. Someone even asked one time, how come I don't see any crosses hanging anywhere? And I said, that's a great question, because it really gave me the opportunity to speak to, what Judaism is all about, and iconography, and what it is we believe, and our prophets and things like that. So asking questions, having those questions be honest and from the heart, and I think just for all of us, and especially in this time we find ourselves in 2022, is not giving into fear, not letting the unknown or the other or what's different be a source of fear, but to just really lean into what is unknown and just to ask the questions.
You were still muted, Pastor Caldwell.
Okay, Deacon Deshane, please.
I guess that's a hard question, but I think the answer for me is accept us where we are. Human beings that may not believe exactly like you, but that enjoy life like you, that suffer like you, that want a better life and understanding like you. And yeah, ask questions, but listen to the answers too. And just listen to us, not just what comes out of our mouths, but what comes out of our hearts. Especially those of us who are old, and may sometimes say things that we should not say. And just love us as your God or my God or whatever loves us. And guess what? I and we must do the same for you. That's it for me.
Thank you. Dr. Billy R.
Again, we are happy to be able to practice our religion without being persecuted, with constitutional protection and all that. Therefore, we are privileged to practice, and I don't have any demands or expectations from anybody in this panel or from the other community. But I have some, hopes that we will be included in opportunities like this. We'll be recognized for people who have a belief system that guides them to live a good life or live a life of faith, a life of accountability. And these people are decent people who can be trusted and respected to, fit in the community with value system that's worth respecting. Of course, we want protection against bullying, prejudice, terrorism, and all that kind of protection. I hope, we get it like all the other faith communities. And we want to be able to practice, with dignity. And of course, we are not going to be intrusive on other people's rights, but we do like to practice certain cultural festivals and all that. And I hope the community can tolerate us practicing things in a certain way to maintain culture in our temple community. The main thing is to have an open mind where people of other faiths may not be bad guys. They may be different, but they may have something worth listening to, and they may be just like us. And we want to promote that understanding, and I hope we're doing it. But I hope God bless us to keep doing it better and better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. You used a word that I hear often around tolerance, and we often talk about tolerance as something that's noble. Until I heard a friend of mine, Dr. Matthew Walker, he was a freedom rider. He said, "Don't tolerate me." He said, "You tolerate flies in your kitchen until you can kill them. You accept me in the fullness of my humanity, or all bets are off." And I just think that's a low bar for tolerance. That's the least we could do. But this thing about our humanity continues to resonate. So Imam, next, please.
I think a question about what to do to support me should be a question about what should we do to support each other. We have to move from speaking about certain group to speak about the entire community. I think a key part of the solution when we stop speaking about each other and start speaking with each other. We prevent this kind of stereotype, speaking with instead of speaking about. I think it's a significant change. Us seeing each other as a human. And if you see a lady wearing a scarf, don't assume that she is having a bomb under the scarf, please. And it's her choice. And the people have the right to choose what they want. I think when we start seeing each other, all of us as a human, and please remember everyone that I am not God. You are not God. Let God do his business and let us all do our business. God to judge everyone, and we can be just nice with everyone. I see the benefit of this. I remember when I was thinking about the kids' school in Nashville, Rabbi Rice, as a friend, we spent a good effort. We speak then as a rabbi and the imam. We spoke as a parents, trying to find the best school for the children. When I heard about a community center being in trouble, I didn't really see them as a Jewish center or a Christian. I see people worshiping their God, and someone is trying to hurt them. I think we have to change the navigation a little bit. And I am very comfortable to say I have disagreement, fundamental one, most likely with each one of you. But I see you as the extended member of my family, as brother and sister, all of us from Adam and Eve. I think willing to support the freedom has to support the freedom all of the way. Not my freedom, not your freedom, the freedom for everyone. I think if you want to support me, support all of us. And if you see me, see male or female from the Muslim tradition, please see them as a human. You are human too. We go to a restaurant often, and some of us can be vegetarian and the other love steak. We don't throw a fate over the choice of food. Why can't we deal with it in our real life? And I think it can be, if there is one sentence to highlight, let us speak with each other instead of speaking about each other. I really appreciate it.
Dr. Otis Ballou.
So I think connection is important and connection is key, and get to know us. So globally, next to Christianity, the Baha'i faith is the most widespread religion in the world. So we are everywhere. So you don't have to go too far to find us. That said, we're also a religious minority across the world as well. There's no country where the Baha'i faith is the most populated or widespread religion within, or the most populated religion within that country. So myths do abound. So do get to know us. So get to know a Baha'i person, make connections with our community. I mentioned that we do not have clergy earlier. One of our fundamental beliefs is independent investigation of the truth. So we do activities where we can learn more about the Baha'i faith and the writings, and we invite friends of the faith to do that with us. So we invite people to make connection through community engagement, through devotionals, through study circles, junior youth empowerment programs, children's classes, and also we do activities that bring us joy. We just have fun together as well. And so we invite people to get to know us through that. And if people are interested, they can learn more through our website within the Nashville Baha'i community, which is nashvillebaha'i.org.
Great. Dr. Minor.
All right. Well, great discussion. I think one of the issues with Nashville in particular, Nashville, like a lot of cities in the South, we welcome all the new people coming in for the industries and services. We do all kinds of ribbon cuttings for the new corporate officers and the jobs they're going to create. One thing we fail to do, we fail to at the same time talk about the cultural and religious aspect of these new group of people coming in. It never ceases to amaze me that we have this influx of folks and new ideas and whatnot, and we expect people to kind of merge in to fit the mold of what already is existing. The same way we're excited, Nashville is excited about the new jobs and the new industries coming in. We ought to be excited about the new influx of ideas, of ways of looking at things, and not running the other direction. The same way they say, come tour the new plant, come talk to the folks that are creating those things. We should, at the same time, have a cultural fair and talk about the new people that are coming in, and so you can learn more about them. But sadly, it's so many folks in these places, they want to stay back in the past. They want all the money influx in, but now as long as you toe the line that we've done for many, many generations, you're okay. The moment you don't do it, it's like we do it, it's a problem. So I say, learn about all of us. As I said, as I started out with this thing, I'm not ashamed to say I'm an evangelical. Some people say that word's got a bad connotation, but the more we talk and look at where we are, guess what happened? You'll find out that the person that you didn't like is so much like you. How can you hate him?
Thank you. So now we're at our final question. This is for everyone again. And so we actually like to include your wrap up in this question. How does a person's spiritual experience integrate with their overall health? And are there barriers to spiritual health and health in general for older adults in your communities? And finally, if so, what are those barriers and how do you suggest we overcome them? So I'll start with Dr. Robin Otis Ballou.
I feel like I'm getting repetitive, but connection. So I think connection really helps. We know from research that when we're connected, we tend to age well and we tend to recover from illnesses and surgeries faster. So connection is key. When also spirituality is key. We know that those things also happen when we believe that we are being prayed for. And that's just what the research says. So I'm pulling on my part as a psychologist there. In terms of the Baha'i faith, younger people are moving the faith forward with their vitality and energy. And as I mentioned earlier, older adults often have different time demands, so they're able to be really meaningfully engaged as well. And so youth should really turn to the older ones for guidance and for support. And then there are also some fundamental aspects of the Baha'i community as well that promote overall health in terms of connection, but also respect for older adults. And that's one of the core aspects of the Baha'i faith is the respect for the parents, and that the family is the bedrock of the community, and a family is everyone, from 0 to, however old. And so if that's the bedrock of the community, then everyone gets invited to that family table and then to the community table. So, so that's where we stand on that.
Thank you so much. Imam, again, spirituality and overall health.
I think there is a connection. In the Islamic tradition, people have to attend the congregational prayer once a week. And when people become old and cannot move as easy, they have an exemption, but they miss this part. So I see a connection between someone's health and someone's spiritual health. Not to say that people can, if they are not physically healthy, they will not be spiritually healthy. Not at all. Some people can be physically in a bad shape and doing wonderful in terms of their spiritual life. But I think the struggle, part of it is communication. Sometimes elder sisters and the brothers within the congregation, they feel like they've been left out. Sometimes they lack the ability to participate in any activity. And I hope we can do more, bringing them using technology and going to them instead of them coming to us. And I think our senior member in general, if I understand the question right, the senior member in general always have value. And I think their wisdom and their spiritual well-being is an essential part of any community, I might say. And I think us taking the step, and I wish all of us can see them to be an essential part of our growth. They are not part of the community we have to maintain and we have to take care of. I think they are taking care of us in many ways. And you don't have to speak a lot to teach someone. We learn from their wisdom and they will learn from their appearance. And I really appreciate each interaction I have with them. And when the deacon said, love us, we love you, and we love everyone. And I think recognizing their contribution and some small act can mean a lot for many of them. I wish we can do more of that.
Thank you. So seeing our seniors as assets and not liabilities, right?
They are indeed.
Yes. Dr. Billiard.
Well, spirituality is the essence of Hinduism. We believe that we are true spirits inside, and the body is just, it's a temporary, disposable part of it. Therefore, recognizing your spiritual presence inside you and getting in touch with you and staying in touch with you and being able to see the connection with the universal spirit and then reconnecting with people in the right way is the pursuit that we teach. Unfortunately, it's an individual pursuit. Not everybody is ready, not everybody is capable, not everybody is able to rise to that level of awareness. So we start from the basics of living a life of self-discipline, honesty, integrity, accountability, in setting the stage for internal purification where you're comfortable with yourself, and then you'll be able to extend your love to your family, your community, others. And while you love and connect with other people, you connect with your own divine self. Therefore, we believe that it is through loving others that you finally learn to recognize the divinity in yourself. Therefore, we recommend this practice of yoga and meditation for self-purification, self-improvement for all the 50-forward people as part of their life practice that will make them feel comfortable with their body and mind and be comfortable with whatever they have to go through in life. And we definitely believe that this holistic approach to living is very, very integral part of aging. Thank you for the opportunity.
That's beautiful. I'm continuing to hear about spiritual practices for spiritual purification. Deacon Deshane, same question, please.
Okay, Veda, I think I love to do yoga, but I can't cross my legs like that anymore. So, but I think I try to do meditation. So that question really was for a psychiatrist or a psychologist, I think, and we have the two of them over here. So, but as I get older, and I hope I don't live as long as Abraham did, Rabbi Laurie. So, But as I get older, I realize more and more that I may not have control over my mental health or my physical health, but maybe I do have some control over my spiritual health. Perhaps by staying in contact with those who believe that there is something more than the physical and the mental, people like you. So I believe it is important to keep searching with others like you, keep walking sometimes in the dark, sometimes in the light, sometimes knowing where we are going, sometimes not knowing, but never giving up, and leave it up to the God we believe in to take over. Sessions like this one are important for everyone, but also for older adults. We should never exclude anyone because of age. So thank you for inviting me, this 83-year-old guy, to be part of this event. And keep on having Zooming activities like this one. They are so important in our time, even after this pandemic is over. It's important, I think, especially for older people, because they can't get to these activities sometimes.
Thank you so much, Deacon. Rabbi Rice.
So much good stuff has been said. So I'll add only one thing to it, which is science and data has proven that if we can connect ourselves back generations to something beyond ourselves. I'm not talking about the transcendent, I'm talking about those who came before us. If we can connect ourselves, you know, if we can name our grandparents or our great grandparents, if we know our family tree, whether that's our own biological family tree or our spiritual community's family tree, then our faith community's tree, then our eudaimonic health, our spiritual health is elevated. That's been proven. And so we know, to echo so many of my colleagues here, that if people feel connected and they feel like they matter and that their presence matters, they will have a greater level of physical and spiritual wellness. And so we see that remarkably in the teenage population, but we know it's true for older adults as well. That purpose is not something we just outgrow. In fact, it's something that we strive for, I think, more and more, meaning and purpose, and feeling like we matter and we have something to contribute. So I believe very much, and so does Judaism, that is an integral part to our spiritual wellness.
Thank you so much, Dr. Miner. Final.
All right, Pastor Caldwell, colleagues, we thank you all for this great discussion today. As a basis of our health ministry is the Old Testament concept of shalom, where we have this unity of mind, body, and spirit, this oneness. And one of the things we really champion in our denomination is for us to look at being totally well. So when people focus on the physical, the outside, and forget about our spiritual health and our mental health. That's so important. In my dissertation, I talked a lot about how we can give people an accelerated degree completion programs to learn. And at the center of that was this idea of sense of community. How can you build sense of community? How can you have this belongingness? If you feel like you belong, then you do everything that you can to keep the community strong. One of the things we've shown today in our discussion is we're going to find more ways in Nashville. So everybody, not just a few people, but everybody feel like they belong, they're part of it, and they establish this sense of community. And when you establish this sense of community, then you can go over and do these other things. And when it comes to our seasoned saints, our seniors, they very much need this sense of belonging, this of community. And because we have to be careful about the idea of loneliness. Their children have gone away, maybe their spouse has died, their grandchildren are far away. And I do agree with Deacon Marty. This Zoom and other things make this connection. So even more, it's more important than ever before for our seniors. We do everything that we can to make sure they're connected, and we're all a part of this. And on behalf of our president of our National Baptist Convention, Dr. Jerry Young, and all of our 31,000 churches and all of our churches there in Nashville, thank y'all so much for letting us participate today. And Pastor Caldwell, you've been a great host. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so closing remarks for me, I'm just so thankful for this fantastic, really panel of folks. I was familiar with a lot of your work already, and then I learned some new things. Deacon, I had no idea the Tennessee Foreign Language Institute, as a community organizer, we use that so much in translators, interpreters, such a need. I'm just really thankful for being here, and Miss Gretchen Funk for having this vision. I'd love to continue the conversation. I'd love to connect with each of you individually, learn more, and continue to have interfaith dialogue. So, Kelsey, I'll give it to you. Thank you.
So thank you so much. And on behalf of 50Forward, I would like to thank each of you for your inspiring stories and sharing your wisdom with us today. And a very special thank you to Pastor Caldwell for your wonderful moderation of this event. We are so appreciative of your time and talents. To learn more about 50Forward, please visit our website at www.50forward.org, where you can also find information on the All of Us research program mentioned earlier. All of Us is a new initiative from the National Institutes of Health to advance precision medicine. Specifically, the program is seeking 1 million people from diverse backgrounds living in the United States to enroll and share their health data, helping researchers find better treatments and cures for all of us. Almost 450,000 have enrolled so far, and you can learn more by visiting our website at joinallofus.org/50forward. Thank you all for watching today, and please enjoy this 30-second PSA about the All of Us research program, which will close this fantastic event. Again, thank you all, and have a great rest of the day.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us research program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.